All right, we're going to take a look at the new tracks coming up next year for NASCAR and why I think NASCAR was talking about flying cars this week. Coming up next. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, hopefully I will earn that subscription today. Okay, let's get into it. So a lot of people were reporting today that NASCAR was talking about flying cars because of the NASCAR fan report or whatever that thing's called. But let's be honest, there will never be a flying car NASCAR thing that is the main focus of the sport. So let's look at why that story came out. That story came out because they wanted you to look over here, because they wanted you to ignore Bubba Wallace over here. So they put out this ludicrous story about flying cars so that you wouldn't pay attention to the flub from Bubba Wallace. And I say flub because most people did not care for what he said. And the reason they did that is because NASCAR is a corporate entity and they represent corporations, and corporations like to make money. And if people don't like what a guy representing an organization says, there's a chance they won't make more money. So they pulled the old, hey, let's put out this ridiculous story and distract everybody so that they don't pay attention to what he said. And that is my opinion, but that's what I think is going on. That's why you heard a bunch of crap about flying cars in NASCAR yesterday. And I'm not going to spend 5 minutes on it like some people. All right, now on to something more interesting, at least more interesting to me. We'll take a look at all three series and the tracks that they will be running next year that are new, and we'll start with the Cup Series. Of course, the LA Coliseum will start the season off with the exhibition race. This will be the first time NASCAR has raced on a football field in a long time. Soldier Field was the last race, and of course, local Saturday night stuff, they do still race at the Madhouse in Winston-Salem, Bowman Gray. But I think this will be an interesting race, and I think it'll be really fun because it sort of gets back to the roots. It's a short track. You've got heat races, and I'm really actually more interested in the heat races because I think that's a more interesting way to go. Instead of having stages, I think heat races would be more important or be more fun for the fans. It'd just be way cooler than this segment racing. And of course, the other track will be the Worldwide Technology Raceway near St. Louis. It is 1.25 miles, so not really an intermediate, but also not a short track. It was on the brink of, I guess just being foreclosed, forgotten about, but it has been, new life has been revived into it, and it is cool to see them get a cup date. I know there are a lot of St. Louis fans that are NASCAR fans, so it's cool to see them get a date. But, of course, with every date added, some places lose a date. In this case, the LA Coliseum will take away the Daytona Busch Clash race, which is typically on the oval. But, of course, last year it was on the road course. There will be no Daytona road course in Cup this season. And Gateway will be, not Gateway, but Worldwide Technology Raceway will take away the Pocono race. So Pocono will have one less race, which is sort of a bummer because the guys at Pocono put on a good race. But of course, a lot of fans don't like the Pocono races because they deem them boring. So Pocono loses one of its dates. But, to expand and get into different markets, sometimes you got to leave, other markets. All right, now on to the Xfinity Series. Portland International Raceway, just under 2 miles in length, will get its first NASCAR race. And that's really cool because the Pacific Northwest, I always say specific, so I'm super glad I didn't mess that up. The Pacific Northwest has a bunch of NASCAR fans, and it's really cool that they're finally getting a race date. They've had guys like Greg Biffle and Casey Kane come from that area, so there's a big fan base up there. It's good that they're finally getting a race, but as always, the people losing a date will be Mid-Ohio, but it's not all bad news for Mid-Ohio, and we will get onto that once we get into the Truck Series. All right, on to the Truck Series, and the first one I think is going to be the best one. They've got the Lucas Oil Speedway. That is a bull ring. It is 0.68 mile oval, and that's going to be a great race if you like short track racing, local short track racing, because it's going to be basically just a local short track race. It's going to be bumping, banging, like it's always fun. If you ever watch that track on MAV TV, they have it on there all the time. There's great racing at that racetrack all the time, and I expect the trucks to be just as good. Mid-Ohio will be the road course that just left the Xfinity Series, will actually be in the Truck Series this year. So although they lose the Xfinity date, they will get truck racing. So in my opinion, the Truck Series is more fun to watch anyway. So I think they actually gained by subtraction there, but that's just, of course, my opinion. And also, the trucks will get Sonoma, formerly known as, Sears Point? I always remember it as Sears Point because I'm old, but it's called Sonoma now. Sonoma is on the Truck Series schedule. And let's see, who did they lose? Canadian Motorsports Park is out, and Watkins Glen is out. So Canadian Motorsports Park is out due to restrictions and just the scheduling and all that. So that's why they're gone. And Watkins Glen, although they won't have a truck race, they will, of course, have the Cup date. So they're not totally without some coverage. All right, those are all of the new tracks, and that is all I've got for you. If you like the content, please feel free to subscribe down below. And if you got something, leave it in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts on the new track and, the flying cars thing, if you think my theory is right or not. All right, thanks for your time. Peace.